Well, the state election only weeks away. I'm announcing that I'm going to run in the state election. To me, it's taking my community, social justice and environmental activism to the next level. This will be the second state election I've run in. My main policies are going to be to get the state government, the state Liberal government, to honour their promise to secure the land at Kariong we know as Bambara. The community's been battling for decades, and on paper, the government's been committed for decades to preserving this land in the national park. Any development inside Bambara would be the biggest development within any national park in New South Wales. We've got 35 threatened species, known threatened species in this area, including the iconic koala, and they're critically endangered in our local area. Also the powerful owl, which gets to around 65 centimetres tall. This is the largest owl in Australia, and they're another incredibly rare and threatened species that you get in this area. There's also 23 registered Aboriginal sites and many, many more in the locality of this area. The state government promised at the last election to bring this land into the national park, and while we're winning, we've got 2 blocks in the national park. That promise has not been adhered to because 2/3 of the land is still in the hands of the developers. And as we all know, anything is possible in the future. So I'd really love the community to get behind this cause. We've only got a few weeks left to go, and peacefully and respectfully write a letter, make a phone call, send an email to Chris Holstein, our state Liberal member, and the Minister for the Central Coast, Rob Stokes, who's also the Minister for the Environment, and ask them to please honour their promise to secure Bambara's future. I've been involved in this cause for about 8 years and made many sacrifices. I'd really appreciate it if the community could get behind it and push. Our next shot will be the 2019 state election. So we really need to be pushing now and trying to get this over the line. We're winning. Okay, we've got 1/3 of the land in the national park, but there's 2/3 to go. We need to make it happen. I'm also really passionate about supporting Gosford Dog Paws, formerly Gosford Pound, who have a no-kill policy, so they do everything within their power to make sure that dogs get adopted. They've got an absolutely cracking Facebook page that gets hundreds of likes on every time they put up an adoption. I saw them get a 15-year-old dog, a Benji dog, adopted the other day. It brought tears to my eyes. It's a young woman that's taken it on and is doing an incredible job with her staff, bringing absolute happiness to many, many people on the Central Coast, and treating our animals with the dignity and the respect that they deserve. They give us so much. So I'm really against backyard breeding and puppy mills. Around 70,000 healthy but unwanted cats and dogs are euthanized each year because people are irresponsible with the way that we treat our animals. Gandhi said something to the effect of the humanity of a community or of a society can be gauged by the way we treat our animals, and I really agree with that, and I believe we can do a lot better. I'm also really passionate about supporting Coast Shelter. Coast Shelter helps thousands of local homeless families, men, women and young people each year. But around 4,500 people get turned away from Central Coast services each year because there's simply not enough room. We need another homeless shelter or 2 or 3 built on the Central Coast. Illawarra's got a smaller population and smaller issue with homelessness, and they got nearly double the amount of funding that the Central Coast got. We often get left behind, and I'd really love to see old Sydney town brought back. I feel as we become more and more multicultural, we're largely losing our cultural identity, which of course includes our amazing and ancient Indigenous heritage in Australia as well. So I'd really like to see the Aboriginal culture strongly represented, have a pre-1788 camp with the bark huts and bark canoes and women fishing from the canoes, of course done in full consultancy and led by the local Aboriginal community and the traditional custodians. Have more of a focus on positive things like Woy Woy, who was an Aboriginal warrior, an ancestral hero if you like to a lot of the Aboriginal people, who fought tooth and nail to protect his country from who he believed to be at the time invaders. Have 50 Aboriginal men coming running out of the bush with their spears and terrifying the local tourists and showing the power that Woy and his men had and Aboriginal people had right around Australia fighting to protect their land. Myself and many others are sick and tired of seeing the Central Coast left behind by our elected leaders. We need something big to happen on the Central Coast, something that brings a life back into this place. Bring back old Sydney town, get the local, state and federal government, all tiers of government, all the political parties behind maintaining our cultural identity and bringing hundreds of jobs back to the Central Coast. Local jobs for people in the building industry, for all the tradies, in catering, actors, musicians, arts, culture and entertainment is the future of the Central Coast. It'll build our local economy and bring a life back into this place. So I'm really excited about getting amongst it in this election and doing my best for our local community, our local environment, and defending those that can't defend themselves. The amount of hot air coming out of the politicians during this election, it'll make a serious contribution to global warming. If you don't want to just vote for another politician, I'd really appreciate your support for the things I stand for.